I trusted her with everything. My heart, my secrets, my future. But she trusted my best friend more. What I uncovered nearly ended me. But what I did next made sure they'd never forget me. Her name was Daniela. Sharp jawline, dark eyes that never apologized, and a smile that made the room feel warmer than it was. I met her on a Tuesday. That matters, because nothing good in my life ever started on a Tuesday. I was 27th stuck, working finance, living like a man half asleep, until she knocked on my office door with a broken printer in hand and a confidence that made me forget my name. "This thing hates me," she said, "and I have a board presentation in 10 minutes. I didn't say anything clever. I just fixed it, fast, silently. "Thanks, hero," she said, and winked. That wink would unravel my entire life. She found excuses to linger. Printer jams, Wi-Fi resets, random questions about spreadsheets she definitely knew the answer to. And I let her. God, I let her. One late Friday, everyone was gone. We stayed behind, talking, joking. I learned she hated mint chocolate. She learned I never finished college. She asked why. "Life," I said, "and fear." She didn't flinch. "You're the kind of guy who carries too much weight and calls it loyalty," she whispered. I didn't know it yet, but she already had me. She touched my arm when she laughed, just enough for my brain to remember it hours later. A week later, she kissed me in the elevator. No warning, no apology. I didn't stop her. We didn't talk about it the next day, but we both felt it. A shift, a pull, the beginning of everything, and the end of peace. We weren't fast. We were fire. Nights tangled in sheets, weekends in the kitchen cooking like it mattered, Sundays wrapped in silence, like we didn't want to share the world with anyone else. She told me about her childhood, foster homes, moving 8 times before age 12, a mother who disappeared and a father who drank. I told her about mine, suburbia, stability, boredom. She called me her anchor. I didn't realize I was her cage. Jamie and I had been boys since 8th grade. He was chaos, charisma, sharp edges and louder nights, but he was loyal, or I thought he was. When I introduced him to Daniela, he smiled in that way men do when they see something they want and know they can't have it. "Careful," I joked later. "She's dangerous." He didn't laugh, neither did fate. Daniela started pulling away, not in dramatic ways, in little deaths. She stopped humming while cooking, stopped texting good morning, stopped watching our show and claimed she forgot. I asked if she was okay. She smiled too wide and said, "Of course." That smile? It wasn't real. It was survival. I didn't want to become paranoid, but paranoia doesn't care what you want. It seeps in. Late night texts she wouldn't show me. New lingerie she wore when I wasn't home. Phone calls cut short when I entered the room. I asked once, "Are we okay?" She said, "Stop acting like I'm cheating on you." And I believed her, because I needed to. One night, Daniela left her phone on the bathroom counter. A voice memo pinged. Not a text. A voice memo. I didn't want to listen, but I did. It was Jamie. "I can't keep doing this, Danny. He's my brother. We have to tell him." Silence. Then her whisper. "Not yet." My world didn't fall in fire. It fell in whispers, in confirmation, in the sob I let out in a parking garage at 2:13 a.m. She had been with Jamie, my best friend, my brother in every way but blood. And it wasn't a one-time mistake. It was a story, a long one, and I was the footnote. Not yet. I watched, waited, let her think I was blind, because sometimes revenge doesn't need volume. It needs precision. I started documenting every lie, every outing, every voicemail. I cloned her cloud, tracked her locations, installed a keylogger on her laptop while she slept beside me, and every click was another crack in the illusion I'd built my life around. Jamie called one day. "Want to grab beers? Been a minute." I agreed. He looked me in the eyes and said nothing had changed. That was his mistake. He looked me in the eyes, and I saw guilt. I made a list. Evidence exposure, financial freeze, public implosion. Walk away clean. I wasn't going to scream, or punch walls, or beg. I was going to end them, beautifully. She asked if I was thinking about marriage. I said, yes. She smiled like a thief who thought she'd gotten away with it. I bought a ring and hid it, not because I planned to give it to her, but because I planned to destroy it. I took her to a rooftop bar, champagne, sunset, laughter. She looked at me like I was still hers. She didn't know I'd already transferred our joint savings. She didn't know the waiter was a PI I hired. She didn't know her phone was being mirrored to my private server. She just smiled, and I smiled back. Jamie texted her one night. "He's acting weird. Do you think he knows?" She replied, "Even if he does, he won't leave. He's too soft." I read it and laughed. Soft? Number I was sharpening. I wrote a letter to myself to remind me why I wasn't going to break. You loved wrong. That's okay. But now, you end it right. I sent emails, scheduled messages, set the final tracker to ping her location at 9 p.m. sharp. I booked a hotel downtown because tonight I wouldn't be home, I would be watching. They met in a hotel 2 miles from our apartment, room 607. I had video, audio, receipts. They laughed, they kissed, they mocked me, I watched, and I waited. I uploaded everything to a shared Google Drive. I added their families, their employers, our mutual friends, captioned it. Since you like secrets, here's everything. I hit send, and the world shifted. My phone didn't stop buzzing. 27 unread messages, 3 voicemails, 2 blocked number calls. The fire had begun, and I was watching it burn from the 14th floor of a downtown hotel. Room service, untouched. Champagne flat. I sipped slowly, listening to the chaos unfold. Voicemail, Daniela. Marcus, what did you do? Oh my God, call me back, please, just call me. Number I wouldn't. She'd had her turn. Jamie called 5 times in 20 minutes. His final voicemail was rage, disguised as fear. What the hell, man? What is wrong with you? You think this makes you look good? You're sick. No, Jamie. I'm just awake now. Daniela's mother called me, crying. I thought you were going to marry her. I didn't respond, because I almost did. And that realization haunted me more than her betrayal. Jamie's firm let him go within 48 hours. Too much liability. The HR folder included screenshots of inappropriate messages sent during work hours. Daniela's job followed. Her position at the agency? Resigned 2 days later. Reputation matters when your business is built on image. And now, they were both stained. I returned home on Friday evening. My key still worked. She hadn't changed the locks yet, but she was inside, sitting on the floor in the living room. Mascara streaked down her face, her voice hoarse. I'm sorry, she said. I didn't speak. I didn't mean for it to happen like this. That's the lie everyone tells when they get caught mid-bite. She begged, explained, tried to reframe her cheating as emotional confusion. I didn't think you'd love me if you knew how broken I was, she whispered. No, I finally replied. You didn't think I'd leave if I never found out. The next day, pounding on my door like a storm. You made her a public joke. She made herself one, I said calmly. She's broken, Marcus. So was I just didn't broadcast it with betrayal. He didn't punch me, he wanted to, but he didn't. Because some truths hit harder than fists. I knew we'd lose people. Some friends unfollowed me online. Others texted in secret to say, I support you, but I can't get involved. I didn't ask them to, because survival doesn't require applause. It requires clarity. I came home one evening and the bedroom was half empty. Her shoes, gone. Her perfume, gone. The books she never read but always displayed like trophies, gone. She left behind one note. I'm sorry I destroyed the one good thing in my life. I didn't keep it. I slept with the windows open, blasted music while cooking, took long, silent showers where I didn't have to pretend I was okay. The freedom was loud, deafening even, but it was mine, a random number. I opened it, expecting spam. Instead, it was Daniela's voicemail. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I miss you. I miss us. I wish I could undo it all. She sounded broken, and for one stupid second, I almost felt bad. Then I remembered that audio recording, and the sympathy faded. I returned to therapy, told my counselor everything. He didn't react, just nodded, hands folded like origami. After a pause, he asked, what would you have done if they hadn't gotten caught? And I realized, I would have married her. I would have stood at an altar and sworn forever to a lie. I found the engagement ring in the drawer I'd shoved it in, stared at it. It sparkled with irony. I took it to the pawn shop, $1,300 cash, used it to book a flight to the mountains. Where silence isn't painful, it's restorative. I found a rental in Vermont, 1 cabin, 1 dog, no cell signal. I spent a week there, chopping firewood, drinking black coffee, writing letters I'd never send. Every time I felt anger, I walked into the woods until my breath steadied. By day 5, I stopped dreaming about her. A local online magazine reached out. We heard about the leak. Would you be willing to tell your story anonymously? I said no, not because I was protecting Daniela, but because I wasn't ready to wear the identity of the betrayed man publicly. Not yet. 6 weeks later, a letter. Yes, a letter. Handwritten. I don't expect you to ever forgive me. I just want you to know. I lost a brother, and it was my fault. I didn't respond. Sometimes silence is more honest than any closure. She disappeared from online, deleted her Instagram, stopped posting on LinkedIn. No tweets, no article, no curated photos of sunsets captioned with quotes she didn't understand. The silence said more than her words ever did. I started sleeping again. Not just naps. Real sleep. The kind where you dream in color and wake up without dread in your lungs. I stopped checking my phone first thing in the morning. I stopped checking on her. I didn't fall in love again. Not yet. People ask me, are you seeing anyone? I'm not, because I'm rebuilding. And love, real love, shouldn't have to grow in the cracks left behind by someone else. It's been 3 months since the explosion. She's gone. Jamie's a ghost. The world keeps spinning. And me? I'm still here. Not broken, not angry, just sharpening. Because this wasn't revenge. This was the prelude. The silence that came before the next storm. And trust me, I'm not done yet. You'd think revenge looks like fire. Hot, destructive, fast. But mine began like frost. I stopped responding to texts, started rebuilding my boundaries like fortress walls. I didn't want revenge just to make noise. I wanted it to teach a lesson without me saying a single word. That was always the thing about Daniela. She needed noise. I learned to weaponize silence. We shared friends. I didn't go to war with them. I just planted seeds, little truths, quietly. At brunch, when someone asked how I was doing, I said, better now that I'm not loving someone who could lie with a straight face. No names, no specifics. Let their curiosity finish the sentence. Daniela used to go to this cafe downtown, the one with floral wallpaper and rosewater lattes. I stopped in one day, 6 weeks after the breakup. The barista blinked when she saw me. Oh, haven't seen her in a while. She's probably avoiding this place, I said casually. Too many memories. I let that linger. Then I tipped $20 and left. Jamie's apartment listing. It showed up on Zillow. Top floor loft, recently vacated. Available immediately. Funny. Must have been lonely when your girlfriend ditches you and your brother won't return your calls. Guess karma needs a place to stay too. A recruiter reached out, had seen my portfolio online. Are you open to a creative director role? I was. 3 weeks later, I was working in a sleek office on the 23rd floor with skyline views and espresso taps. Daniela always said I'd never leave my comfort zone. She was right, until she made me uncomfortable enough to leave everything. This time I wasn't there to talk about her. I was there to talk about me. Why I missed red flags. Why I kept loving people who didn't show up. My therapist said, the real question isn't why they left. It's why you stayed. I didn't answer, because I was already writing the answer in my new life. I posted one photo. Me, coffee in hand. New city skyline in the background. Caption, forward. No hashtags, no tags, no drama. She saw it. I know she did, because 3 minutes later, her account posted a vague story with a sad quote. Something about letting go of people who betray you. Projection is a hell of a drug. The dinner invitation, mutual friend. Casual tone. Daniela's going to be there? Just letting you know. I went anyway. She didn't speak to me all night, but she watched me laugh, watched me eat, watched me toast with people who no longer whispered about what happened. I didn't acknowledge her presence, and that did more damage than 1,000 shouted words. A relationship coach reached out. We'd love to have you share your story about betrayal and rebuilding. I said yes, not to expose her, but to help the people like me. The ones who stayed too long, who loved too hard, who forgave too fast. The episode went viral. Daniela's email subject, closure. I clicked. I saw the podcast. I guess I deserved it. I just wish you had said my name. I replied, you gave up your name the moment you stopped protecting ours. Her name was Harper. We met at a bookshop. She asked what I was reading, and I said, something that reminds me who I used to be. She smiled. And who's that? I said, someone I'm finally proud of. Jamie tries again. He called. I answered. We talked for 12 minutes. He apologized again. I didn't argue, didn't accuse. But when he said, can we ever go back? I said, no, but I hope you become someone I'd want to know again someday. Sometimes the most painful closure is grace. The anonymous letter. It arrived in my office mailbox. No return address, typed words. You may have ruined us, but you didn't break me. There was no signature, but I knew, and I smiled. Because healing makes people uncomfortable, especially the ones who expected you to stay broken. The dinner with Harper, first date. Soft jazz, soft lighting. She said, tell me something you've never said out loud. I told her, I thought I'd never trust anyone again. She reached across the table, held my hand. Didn't say a word. Didn't need to. Daniela's last message, 3 months later. I'm moving. Just wanted to say goodbye. I stared at it, deleted it, didn't reply. Let her talk to my silence one last time. My campaign at the new firm won a national award. In my speech, I thanked no one who betrayed me. But I did say this. Sometimes rock bottom is the foundation you needed all along. People clapped, but I felt something louder inside. Peace. Jamie gets engaged. A mutual friend texted me the news. I smiled. Not because I cared, but because I didn't. I heard she moved out west. Started over. Good. Let her carry the weight of everything unspoken. I wasn't her punishment. I was her mirror. And eventually, everyone has to look in one. Me and Harper, not in love? Not yet. But there's laughter now. There's sleep. There's peace when the door shuts at night. And for the first time since all of this began, there's someone on the other side of the bed who shows up. I didn't burn her house down. I rebuilt mine. Brick by brick. Truth by truth. The silence? It wasn't revenge. It was resurrection. And I haven't even told you what happened next. Because this story, it's not about how I was broken. It's about how I came back sharper than ever. And I'm just getting started. It had been nearly 2 years since I'd seen her in the wild, but there she was, aisle 6, holding a box of cereal like it meant something. Daniela, no makeup, hair shorter, eyes dimmer. She looked up, saw me, froze. I nodded once, didn't break stride. My cart passed hers without a word. But silence? Loud. 2 weeks later, my doorbell rang. I opened it. She stood there. You don't have to say anything, she whispered. I won't, I said. She handed me a sealed envelope. I need you to know the truth. Then she left. Her letter inside, 5 pages, handwritten, ink smudged in places. She admitted everything. It started before you noticed. The lies, the double life, the nights Jamie said he was helping a friend move. That was me. I thought I loved him. I convinced myself you were safe, boring, predictable. But the truth? You were just consistent. And I didn't know how to exist without chaos. You were never the problem. I was just too broken to handle peace. I didn't cry. I thought I would, but I didn't. Because that letter didn't tell me anything new. It just confirmed that everything I suspected was true. And knowing you weren't crazy, that's its own kind of closure. Jamie reaches out again. He texted, I've lost everything. I miss you. I replied, you don't miss me? You miss what you ruined. Then I blocked him again. We were drinking tea on a Sunday morning when Harper said, there's something I need to tell you. She'd been cheated on, badly, by someone who used her insecurities like puppet strings. I listened. I didn't interrupt. When she finished, she said, I'm scared to trust again. I held her hand and said, then let's be scared together. A memory popped up in my cloud storage. Me and Daniela laughing at a beach bonfire. She was drunk. I was smiling. But I paused the video halfway, zoomed in on her face, and for the first time, I realized I had never been able to see what she was hiding, because I didn't want to. I told my therapist about the letter. She nodded slowly, then asked, what did you want it to say? I thought about it. Maybe that she loved me, even if she was wrong. She said, why do you need her to validate your worth? I didn't answer, because I didn't anymore. I was invited to speak at a leadership summit. Topic, resilience through ruin. I stood in front of 500 strangers and told them the truth. Not about her, about me. The boy who tried to fix everything with love. The man who learned to fix himself with boundaries. Daniela's voice memo. I hadn't blocked her on my email. I don't know why. One night, a new message. Hey, I heard your speech. You were amazing. I'm glad you're okay. I'm not, but you are. That means something. That was the last I ever heard from her. I let her voice echo in the inbox. Didn't respond. The engagement not mine. Jamie's. To someone new. A girl named Claire. I heard she's sweet. Normal. Not dramatic. I hope she never learns what he's capable of. But that's her journey to take. I took mine. I came home one night. Found it taped to the fridge. You make me feel safe in ways I never thought possible. No fanfare. No Instagram story. Just real words. From a real heart. Meeting her parents. Harper's dad grilled me. What are your intentions with my daughter? I looked him in the eye and said, to never make her doubt she's enough. Ever. He leaned back and smiled. That's the right answer. The apartment key. She gave me one. No big speech. Just slid it across the table with a wink. Figured you'd want a drawer. I kissed her on the cheek. Because this time, I wasn't rushing anything. Running into Jamie. It happened at a bookstore. He looked thinner. Tired. He saw me and walked over, said, you look good. I said, I am. He nodded. Then walked away. Sometimes you don't need revenge. You just need to live well. The tattoo, I got one. Inside left wrist. Simple text. Still here. It wasn't for anyone else. Just a reminder that even after everything, I made it. Harper asked me one night, do you think people can change? I said, only if they want to. She nodded. I do. I knew what she meant. So did I. Daniela's wedding announcement. It showed up online. Not to Jamie, some new guy. The caption read, I finally found peace. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was ironic. I'd found peace too. But it didn't come from someone else. It came from finally choosing myself. The beach revisited. I went back to the bonfire spot, alone this time. Stood there, feeling the wind, watching the waves, and whispered, thank you. Not to her, to the pain. Because without it, I'd never have become this version of me. You think the end of a relationship is the end of your story, but it's not. Sometimes it's just the first chapter in the one where you finally become the main character. And trust me, that's where the real story begins. The letter I wrote but never sent. I sat down one night and wrote Daniela a letter. Not because I missed her, because I needed to prove to myself that I could put the story down, finally. It read, you broke me, then you gave me the chance to rebuild stronger. I don't hate you, I don't love you, I just don't carry you anymore. I burned it in the fireplace. That was the goodbye I never gave. Harper got quiet one night, didn't touch her food, didn't meet my eyes. I asked what was wrong, and slowly, tearfully, she said, sometimes I'm afraid I'll be the one who ruins everything, like they always said I would. I took her hand, and I said, you won't? Because I'll be holding the pieces with you if anything breaks. She wept, and healed a little more that night. The job offer out of nowhere, New York called. A high-level position, double my current salary. I stared at the offer for hours. Harper found me on the porch. You gonna take it? She asked. I said, I don't know. Then she smiled. Take it. We'll figure it out together. We packed our lives into cardboard, books, tea mugs, childhood photo frames. I found an old photo of Daniela tucked in a drawer. I held it once, then dropped it in the trash without a second thought. That's what healing looks like. Not fireworks, not screaming, just quiet release. New York nights. The city swallowed us whole. Subway brakes squealed like sirens of rebirth. Harper found a studio nearby. She painted skylines in oil, while I ran boardrooms with calm fury. We'd meet for late-night tacos and stumble home laughing like we were 18. We weren't trying to escape the past anymore. We were building something new. When she said I love you, it wasn't candlelit, no violins, just Harper, in sweatpants, sitting on the couch. I love you, she said, offhanded, casual. I froze. My chest cracked open, and for the first time in years, I said it back and actually meant it. I love you too. Not out of habit, not out of fear, but because this love didn't demand pain in exchange. Spring in Central Park, a Saturday, jogging, and there she was, Daniela, walking a dog, with a man, holding hands. She didn't see me. I watched for 5 seconds and felt nothing. No rage, no longing, just peace. Then I turned and kept running. Our first real fight? It was about dishes. But it wasn't about dishes. We yelled, said things we didn't mean. She stormed out. I sat on the couch. But 2 hours later, the door opened. She stepped in, eyes soft, and said, I want to do this right. Can we figure it out? We did. Not perfectly, but honestly. And that made all the difference. It sat in my drawer for 2 weeks. Every morning I'd see it. Every night I'd wonder if I was ready. Then one night I asked myself, are you afraid she'll hurt you? Or are you afraid she won't? And that's when I knew. I wasn't scared anymore. The proposal were on a rooftop. Wine, string lights, no crowd. I knelt. And she said yes before I could even ask. The wedding invite from Jamie. He was marrying Claire. He invited me. I didn't go. Not because I was angry. Because I didn't need to anymore. The wedding day, ours. Harper wore midnight blue. I wore a grin that reached my ears. We didn't have a priest. We had letters. Hers said, you made me believe love could feel like breathing again. Mine said, you turned my ruin into a foundation. We kissed as the sun dipped below the skyline, and the city cheered beneath us. We made pancakes. She spilled flour. I kissed it off her nose. These were the mornings I used to fantasize about. Now, they were mine. The email from Daniela, it was 2 lines. I saw the wedding photos. You look happy. I'm glad. I didn't reply. I just whispered, thank you, into the air, then deleted it. I think we're done, my therapist said. I smiled. So did she. Not because I was fixed, but because I wasn't broken anymore. A publisher found my blog, offered a contract. I signed. The title, The Silence That Burned. The dedication, to the fire that didn't destroy me, just lit the path forward. The cabin we bought one, upstate. Same lake where my dad used to fish. Harper painted. I wrote. Tala the husky, yes, we adopted her. Snored by the fireplace. It was everything, and enough. One day, Jamie showed up at my book signing. He waited until the crowd left, then came up and said, I read it. Every word. I deserved worse. I nodded. You got exactly what you gave. He left. I never saw him again. I looked out over the lake one night. Stars above me. Harper beside me. And I whispered, this is the life I almost gave away for people who never deserved me. She kissed my hand. The wind carried the rest. If you're listening to this, and you've been betrayed, if you've been left holding shattered pieces, know this. It's not the end. It's the invitation to build something so real, so steady, so damn luminous, that they'll hear your silence echo for miles. And you'll never burn for the wrong person again.